our last session, we looked at how discipleship growth comes naturally from instruction, immersion, and in-situ training. In this session, I want to walk you through three cornerstones of Jesus' disciple making that we see in Mark 4, verse 33 to 41. These aren't just random ideas, they're the backbone of how Jesus built his movement. Now, first up, teaching. We see in Mark 4 that Jesus spoke to the crowds in parables. So with many similar parables, Jesus spoke the word to them as much as they could understand. And he did not say anything to them without using a parable. But when he was alone with his own disciples, he explained everything. Did you catch that? There's public teaching, and then there's the deep dive with the 12. I love it. Now, when I say teaching, I don't mean deep exegesis or systematic theology. Don't get me wrong, that stuff has its place. But what we're talking about here is Great Commission teaching. Teaching people how to obey. In Hebrew, the word for teach is actually to cause to learn. It's not about how good your delivery is, it's about whether people are learning or not. And so teaching helps us think like disciples. It's about the concepts of discipleship. But here's the kicker. Most preaching in the New Testament is catalytic, not coaching. It sparks and initiates, but it's not meant to feed people long term. That's why we need a discipling culture. You know, we've got this thing at our church where we connect our life group curriculum to the Sunday sermon. We can dive deeper there. We've also got midweek Bible teaching 3 times a year. Why? Because research tells us that really action-oriented, obedience-oriented, exegetical Bible teaching can be really helpful in helping long-term Christians get unstuck. But on the weekends, sure, we do Bible teaching, but it's to start, spark, and initiate, not to fully feed. Is that okay? That's great. Now, the second cornerstone of Jesus' approach to discipleship is time. Jesus gives his disciples both structured and spontaneous time. And this helps them be disciples. Discipleship isn't just what we do, it's who we are. And Jesus is with them in public, with crowds. They have access to him in private follow-up conversations. And here in Mark 4, he takes them away again onto the lake. And the text specifically says, leaving the crowd behind. Now, time helps develop character on the journey. Now, I love how Jesus describes his character when he says that he is gentle and humble in heart. Humble means I'm surrendered and submitted. I'm not God, and that is good. And gentle? Gentle doesn't mean being conflict averse or soft. In fact, we can express anger or frustration while still remaining gentle. It's being able to treat people well, even under pressure. Aristotle described it like this: the ability to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way. That's not soft or squidgy, that's treating people well under pressure. And you know what? It takes time. We've got to be journey mindful in this process. We can't help people make these paradigm shifts lightly or quickly. You can get them to comply while you're around, but then they'll just revert to what they know, particularly if they've been conditioned to dive deep into Scripture and do nothing about it. The third cornerstone is tactics. Jesus trains them in what disciples do. I think he does this in real time as he talks them through the impact fear has on faith and following him. As they face a crisis out on the lake, when the storm rages, Jesus identifies fear as a key driver in their lives. He says, why are you so afraid? You still have no faith. And he helps them see that if any of us are going to follow him above everything, we need courage. When they get to the other side of the lake, they're going to get the chance to put that into practice. And this is the tactics side of things, the practical application of what we're learning. Whether it's overcoming fear or learning to pray or finding people of peace or whatever it is, and he's building their capacity. And I don't just mean competence, I mean readiness and availability. You need the skills, but you also need to be able to use those skills in your current season of life. Now let me give you an example. In our discipling journey in my church, the people who jumped first and earliest were young families. And that really surprised me because the narrative often around young families is, we've got little kids, we're so tired, we can't do anything. But in our context, that wasn't true. What these young families discovered was that the discipleship principles were giving them tools to start their kids on a faith journey. It was also helping them when they were connected to community groups, mums groups and play groups. And they could sit there as believers in Jesus and not feel the crushing guilt to be a Christian or just collapse. They could actually get a sense that God was at work where they were at, and that was incredibly empowering for them. Now, if I was drawing this out, I'd put these 3 T's, teaching, time, and tactics, around a triangle. Why? Because it's all about orienting our lives around the key relationships Jesus oriented his life around: up, in, and out. And you know what? This isn't about fitting things into neat shapes or clever alliteration. It's about what the scriptures say. When we look at this passage, we can see Jesus doing all these things. It's living and active and powerful. But let's take it a step further. The words of Jesus, that's his teaching. The ways of Jesus are learned over time. And you step into the works of Jesus by doing what Jesus did. That's the tactics. And so we're multiplying and living out the words, the ways, and the works of Jesus. And this is how we relate to the world. It's orienting our life around the key relationships Jesus oriented his life around. And it's all about intentional multiplying. It's going to take time and repetition, but here's the thing. We're designed for this. It just may not happen naturally. We have to learn it, like with lots of things we're designed for. So what's the takeaway? Discipleship isn't a program, it's a lifestyle. It's about helping people learn the words of Jesus, walk in the ways of Jesus, and do the works of Jesus. It's intentional, it's relational, and it takes time. And let me tell you, I wish I could disciple people all day. There's nothing like seeing someone grow in their faith and start to disciple others and transform their world. It's what Jesus did, and it's what we are called to do. Now, I know this might feel overwhelming. You might be thinking, well, where do I start? Well, let me encourage you. Just start with something. Get on with it and do it. And if you're leading a neighbourhood leaders huddle, just get on and do it. If you're working with group leaders, that's going to be the thing if we want transformation. And remember, it's a journey. We're all on this journey together. It's all about being gentle and humble in heart, about investing time in relationships, about reflecting on the character traits we see in others and in ourselves. And so are you ready to dive in? Are you ready to teach, give time and train in tactics? Are you ready to help people think and do like disciples? Because let me tell you, that's where the adventure really begins. And you know what? We're praying and we're fasting for you. We're in this together, and so let's get after it. Let's make disciples who make disciples. Let's change the world one relationship at a time.